Després de totes aquestes lliçons de sabidoria, d'aquesta ponència, d'aquesta xerrada tan interessant, arriba una de les taules més especials per mi. No es pot parlar de NewSpace sense parlar d'emprenedoria. El NewSpace obre un ventall de possibilitats tant al desenvolupament tecnològic com al d'aplicacions. I aquí és on poden convergir joventut i experiència. Però com liderar un sector, un negoci al sector espacial? És com qualsevol altre sector. Hem organitzat una taula rodona amb l'objectiu de respondre a aquesta pregunta. Aquesta taula rodona està moderada per Àurea Cors, Co-Líder de WIA-E Barcelona i Spacecrarft Controller a ESOC. En aquesta taula rodona reunirem dones i homes del sector, emprenedores i directores tecnològiques i, sobretot, líders i referents del nostre sector. Benvingudes i benvinguts.
Hola, bona tarda a tothom. Jo, com ja m'ha introduït la Mireia, soc l'Àurea Cors. Formo part de Women in Aerospace. Pels que no ho sapigueu, us fareixi una petita introducció del que és i una mica el que estem fent actualment. Women in Aerospace és una associació que pretén visibilitzar el paper de la dona i potenciar el paper de la dona dins del sector aeroespacial. En el cas de Barcelona, també un dels nostres objectius és crear una xarxa de networking tant professional com personal, doncs perquè, sobretot, les joves en el sector i els joves ens sigui una mica més fàcil entrar en el sector i ens sentim més còmodes. Actualment tenim un parell de projectes, un dels quals és una mica sorpresa perquè crec que encara no l'hem anunciat públicament, és que en les pròximes setmanes traurem un podcast. Aquest serà en català i el que pretenem és una mica amb l'objectiu aquest de fer networking, sobretot de poder acostar referents de Catalunya dins dels joves i les joves del sector tecnològic. I també ja tenim, que ja hem dit en diverses ocasions, el programa Mentoring, que també a finals d'aquest mes esperem poder-lo dur a terme. Actualment ja tenim unes quantes parelles de mentors i mentees i estem molt engrescades de veure com anirà aquesta nova aventura. Procedeixo a presentar-vos els ponents d'aquesta taula rodona. Aquí tenim a la Maria, ella forma part d'Open Cosmos com a Mission Manager. Després tenim el Carlos, que és Innovation Manager and Co-Founder de Hemav. També tenim a l'Elisabet, que és Manager de la ESA Vic, i finalment a la Yanina, que és la CEO de UARX. Farem la taula rodona en anglès. So, first I would like to do some individual questions to introduce yourself and know a little bit more what you do. So, for example, let's start with Maria. How is to lead a team in the space sector?
Okay. So yeah, well, as it has been already said, I'm mission manager at Open Cosmos, and at the present moment I'm working on managing a project which is the NanoMaxat, which I will explain you later on with a bit more detail. And about the question, how it is to lead well, a project in the new space business. So for us at Open Cosmos, there are 3 key points that are really important. So the first one is to keep customers and the end users in mind always, because of course they are our core business, and we are here to provide services to support their needs and to cover their needs. So this is something, a premise that we always have in mind, and that kind of leads to, well, guides how you lead the team. Second point is that we consider, and this is a company vision, company culture, we consider each individual, each one of us to be leads. So it's not only the project managers or mission managers or the leads. So each individual is lead of the work they are doing or they are developing, because of course they are working on an activity, on a task, on a work packages that have well-defined time frames. You need to deliver on time. You need to be able to do it in an efficient manner as well. And they've got responsibilities, and this is a way to assign responsibilities to everybody and for them to feel part of the team or feel part of the project they are working on, which is really important. And the third point is to communicate the vision and the view of the company and the roadmap. And when I'm saying this, it's not only to the end customers. So I'm talking about to be able to transfer this message to the team internally, so that it's very clear to them what we are targeting for, what we are aiming for, our objectives, so that to have a clear picture of our vision. So these are, to me, the key points.
Yeah, it's very interesting, no, to make everyone part of the project, and I think it's one of the keys. So now, going with Yanina, have you always projected yourself as an entrepreneur person?
Well, thank you for the question. Thank you also, WIA, for inviting me. I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. I'm Yanina Hallak. I'm the CEO of UARX Space. We are a Galician company based in Nigran, near Vigo, 15 kilometers far from Vigo. We do separation systems for CubeSat and small satellites, and we are working on our OTV. I think through my life, I have 2 masters, one in aeronautical engineering and one in airspace engineering, and I'm 6 months to getting my PhD in airspace engineering. I have undertook a lot of challenges. I moved from my original country in Argentina to the US, and then I stayed a couple of months in the Netherlands and then Spain. So I have had a lot of challenges. But having your own company is kind of like the main one. I think that for me, it took 3 pushes. The first one was my husband. He came up with the idea of being an in-space transportation company for deep space. So he threw me that, saying, okay, let's do this. We can do it. Let's do it together. And I say, okay, let me think about it. We need to see how are we going to do this. You know, engineers and women engineers are like, okay, we need to do this, but we're going to do it right. Have one shot. The second push was when I was really grateful to get a scholarship at ISU and the International Space University. And 20 years of studying engineering, they pushed me to go to a different field. So I went to the Space Management and Business Department. And there I kind of see myself leading a company, space company, and all my skills were like, okay, yes, I can do this. And the third push, it was someone that I think you may know him. The people call him Jordi, and the last name is Putswari. We were 3 years ago having a coffee in Malaga. So he was my co-advisor for my thesis at Cal Poly. I graduated from Cal Poly, the CubeSat home. And so we were talking about WARX, and I told him, we need to get a CEO for WARX. And he looked at me and he said, you're going to be the CEO. You know what you guys want, you know how to do it, you have leadership, you are kind, you are willing to take risks. So I had to go through those 3 pushes to become CEO.
Yeah, sometimes you need someone, no, to tell you what you really know already. But yeah, and also related to that, I want to ask you, Elisabet, what is ESA-BIC? Because I think it's kind of related to what we were discussing now, and why Barcelona?
So ESA-BIC Barcelona, the European Space Agency Business Incubation Center Barcelona, is a business incubator with an acceleration program related to space technologies. So we are located in the RIT building in the Mediterranean Technology Park in Castelldefels, here in the area of Barcelona. We are going to support 21 incubatees over a period of 3 years. So which participants are here in the ESA-BIC Barcelona? The ESA-BIC Barcelona is formed by a consortium managed by the Polytechnic University of Catalonia and the Mediterranean Technology Park, with a key partner as the Catalonia government of Catalonia. Also, we have an acceleration program that is we have some partners that help us in the action plan, like that are the Diputació de Barcelona, el Consell Comarcal de Baix Llobregat, l'Ajuntament de Barcelona i l'Àrea Metropolitana de Barcelona. Also, I want to highlight that SABIC Barcelona is linked to the NewSpace strategy of Catalonia, that we are going to promote and develop the space sector. So we will select promise startups and select promised startups to stay with us in our acceleration program. So why Barcelona? We are being selected as a big location by the CDTE. Also, there are also in Madrid and in Castilla y León. So in the area of Barcelona, well, the fact that the UPC, the Polytechnic University of Catalonia, leads the project, give us this expertise of transfer, of technological transfer that we need in this program. Also, the acceleration program is framed in the strategy of the UPC, in the UPC ecosystems innovation. So we have all this expertise. Also, in the area of Barcelona, we have several knowledge of aeronautical field, as some engineering schools from in the UPC. Also, we have some research centers that all these companies can be more competitive with all this ecosystem. So to finish, I will explain what are we seeking in the SABIC Barcelona. We are looking for entrepreneurs that have a space-based business idea, who develops products or services with space systems or space technologies, but maybe in a non-space domain, but you use these space technologies, or who develops innovative products or services for the space sector. So we are looking of these types of entrepreneurs in the SABIC Barcelona.
Yeah,
we will help them to be a successful company in this space sector. So we want to improve this space innovative sector.
So yeah, thank you so much. And now, Carlos, how was Hemav developed and how was the process until today? Because yeah, you can explain more us about SABIC, but.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm Carlos Ferraz, one of the crazy guys who started Hemav 10 years ago this month. Thank you for inviting us to this. I don't know if you're listening to me?
No, I don't think so. Curious.
Now, yes.
Now? Yeah. No. Hemav started like a very romantic idea. We were studying aeronautics in Terrassa after passing through aeronautics in Castelldefels, and we wanted to make something fly. And you know, in the morning there was commented this idea of having the students doing hands-on engineering. That's what we wanted to do, and we asked the university for some help. We got a room shared with other projects. We got something like 300 euros, and we made something fly. Among all the different approaches, we thought that getting an RC remote controlled airplane with a camera sounded like a plane or like a drone. So we started with that. We finished our studies, and some professors, some teachers, they told us, okay, these things that you are doing seems interesting. Why don't you make a company that you mentioned about the pushes, no? And we said, okay, let's try. We don't have anything to lose. And then we received another push, no? I like the idea, by the Generalitat through Acció in the program Empenta with ESADE. They teach us how does a business look like, and we learned how to move from the romantic idea to a business, and then 10 years later, we are here, no longer working with drones, working in agriculture, in data science, still using information from drones, but another huge push that we received was in 2014, when we were selected as the first company to be incubated in the first business incubation center in Barcelona, the first program, and that was a game changer for us. We were in a small garage in Molins de Rey, in the surroundings of Molins de Rey, the garage of the father of the girlfriend of one of the founders, so very startup-like. Then we got one room in that amazing building in Castelldefels. And then we got the brand from European Space Agency that opened us lots of doors. No? And this is more or less very brief and interesting.
It's also very amazing, no? After university, getting involved in a project like that, and nowadays, 10 years later, no? So yeah, related to that, entrepreneurs and startups are quite trendy nowadays. I would like to ask you, how do you see old space versus new space today, and how new space can help these crazy ideas, no, that we were talking about, to be real ideas and real business? I don't know who wants to answer the question.
I think I can
Okay,
something
go
on
ahead.
that. I have worked before in old space, or what is called old space, like geostationary satellites or Earth observation satellites, like 1.5, 3.5 tons. And then, like, after some years working on that, I moved to CubeSats, to Cal Poly, got my second master in there. And what I saw, like the main differences, like I'm talking about 8 years ago, was that the new space didn't have a lot of like reliability. So there were things like, okay, this is cheap, we're gonna try, we're gonna send it to space. If it doesn't work, you learn a lot. But what I see now is that all these new space products or new space work has much more reliability than it was at the very beginning. So I think new space is kind of like more agile. You can get things more time, like on the market time. But still needs to learn more from the old space, like procedures or experience, I would say.
I don't know if you want to.
Well, in my case, for instance, I have also experience in the old or traditional space and now in new space. And yeah, it's true that new space is more agile. It's much quicker, of course, the process. So you can see a full mission from the very beginning till the end in 1 year, 1.5 years, whilst old space can take 10 years, 15 years, and so on, right? But at the end, it's not as much as discriminating between old space and new space and what's best and what's not as good, no? It's basically what we talk about the concept of enabling a space, to democratizing the space, to allow other type of industries or any type of industries to have access to space, either if that is access to the setup, to the hardware, to the infrastructure, and be able to operate it and so on, or to get the data and get it, process it, and use this data for anything. And this is something that we do, of course, in conjunction with some specific partners and strategic partners that have expertise in some different areas, for instance, on natural resources or climatic emergency, energy, infrastructure, and so on. So it's a way to provide these kind of sophisticated services to the industry and to the companies and institutions as well. So this is...
Yeah, and related to that, I would like to know, what would you recommend to young people, or not only women, but also men, because I think in the end it's young people in global, no? To get involved in the sector. And what would you say to them for them to pay the attention in the sector and to go into the sector?
To never give up, because dreams can come true. Not even, and it's true, not even in my best dreams I would have thought that I would end up working in a space when I was a little lady, a young lady, I mean. But you can achieve it, and it's a matter of looking for opportunities. Through the university, you've got a lot of connections, and you can get a lot of support and help, of course. But then keep trying, keep looking into that, and for sure an opportunity will pop up at some point. There is a momentum for everybody, and there is a space. This is redundant, no? Talking about the space, but there is a space for each one of us to be here and to be part of these big projects that we are working on. So.
And to complement that, maybe I was remembering one speech that I heard from Joan de Dalmau that was in the previous roundtable, saying that the space business is a constructive industry where everyone wants to build things that may change the world in some place. And this, as I said, we are very romantic. We started making some slides, but we believe in that, no? And we think that seeing things from above and seeing one of the more constructive things you can show to anyone is the globe as a wall, and seeing things from above and working from that level is very, raises very passionate things, no? So for the young people trying to, looking into their direction, our experience in the space industry is that it's very worth every step that you try to do, and there is always this opportunity to make your dreams true.
So now I would like to go a little bit more into that technical part and your own projects that I'm sure each of you have in your businesses. So, for example, I'll start with you, Maria, about the nano maxet. I would like to know a little bit which is the scope of the project and which are the future or next goals.
Okay, so yes, so NanoMaxat is an ESA project for which we are prime at Open Cosmos, so we are leading the mission. And basically, it will ultimately be a project of 30 million euros with 3 satellites to be put in orbit. At the moment, we are working in a de-risking phase. It's called NanoMaxat Risk Retirement Activity Phase, which a reduced scope is a 6 million euros, 5.2 million euros project, a budget. And well, it's to de-risk different activities in order to be ready for the next phase, for the full mission, okay? Basically, well, you can see it here in the picture behind me. NanoMaxat is the last one in the picture, so on the right-hand side. And it has a very peculiar shape because, as you can see, it has a deployable boom, 3 meters long, which, of course, this boom gets stowed. It's in a stow configuration during launch. But then once the satellite is in orbit, it deploys. And at the very top of this boom, this deployable mass, it sits the optical bench with a magnetometer and star trackers. And there is another magnetometer in the middle of this structure. So basically, the scope is to monitor the Earth's magnetic field, okay? And that's one of the reasons why the payload needs to be as far away as possible from the rest of subsystems, is basically to avoid magnetic disturbances to the final readings or the final measurements, which are made at the very top where the magnetometers are. But apart from that, it has also other challenges, because it's not only to keep them as far away as possible, but we need to look into the platform itself and all the elements inside the subsystems to be sure they are as magnetically clean as possible. And that's looking into the materials, into the current flowing through the PCBs, and so on. So it's very, very interesting. So that's nanomaxed, but of course at Open Cosmos we've got other, this is more scientific project which we are working on, and it's not only me, of course there is a team behind, and we need support from I need support from them, and we are cooperating together in order to achieve this goal and to make it a successful project, which I'm sure it will be the case. But apart from this, which is a scientific mission, we also have other type of missions, like such as telecommunication satellites. The first one that you can see is Enxaneta, which was launched beginning of last year. And it was to demonstrate narrowband 5G IoT services. The second one is Mantis, which is a 12U structure, and it's basically, well, a high precision, 5 meters precision Earth observation satellite. But we also have the third one in the picture. It's all mid precision. It's the Manut. Manut was presented last week, as you know, here at Barcelona in the new offices of Open Cosmos, and it was an amazing event. But we also have FISAT as well, which would allow to run artificial intelligence applications which are developed by its users, and so different kind of projects. So it's telecommunications, Earth observations, navigation, and scientific missions mainly, our core business, okay? And this is what we call open orbit. So this is to provide a mission to cover a service, a specific service, but we've got also open constellation, a constellation of satellites where different companies or institutions are sharing the infrastructure to meet their objectives and to be able to get data and so on. And we've got also another product in our catalog, which is Data Cosmos, which is to allow access to this data that the satellites are providing for different kind of purposes.
It's very interesting. I think that if some of you want to know a little bit more in detail, can go back to you this afternoon. So now going back to you, Yanina, can you explain us a little bit of the state of the OTB project and what is exactly this project that you are developing now?
Yes. Well, our OTB, or Orbital Transfer Vehicle, it's a project that started 2 years ago, but we have been developing other products for the company. The OTB's name is OSI, it's Orbit Solutions to Simplify Injection and Exploration. We are starting the manufacturing phase in a couple of months. And we already have 40% of the platform already booked with paid customers. Some of them are Pocket Cubes deployers, others are CubeSats. And then we have hosted payloads. One of the hosted payloads that we are bringing on our first mission, our first qualification flight mission, is from DLR Bremen. It's a communication module that has been tested at CERN in Switzerland. But we also have 2 more from other 2 private companies to test some of their technology. 100% of the platform is being built in Europe with European providers. Most of them are here from Spain. For example, solar panels, PCBUs, and power units are from DHP in Malaga. So we foster national and international cooperation here in Europe. So it's certainly going great.
Thank you. And also, I know that you, Carlos, use analyzed data, no? Can you explain us a little bit how this data can be used to solve day-to-day problems? And also if you have some other projects in mind to keep forward.
Yeah, of course. We work mainly using, consuming all this data from Earth observation, both from visual or multispectral or radar imaginary and meteorological information to monitor the crops together with information from the end user, from the farmer or from the industry. With this monitoring service, they get alarms, automatic alerts of what's going on the different fields. Imagine that you are managing like all the wheat here in Catalonia, 130,000 hectares, and you need to know what's going on in the different places. That's what our crop monitoring tool does. But our key product, our key technology is the crop modeling, what we are doing with artificial intelligence in the field of agriculture, where we are using growth sampling and historical information to generate yield estimations at a year ahead. And then with the new information from the satellites and the new information from the weather that is actually occurring, we update every week these estimations, and then we provide this information to the user. Okay, that's fancy, but why and for what? No? Most of the times, one field is behaving in one way and the other field is behaving in another way. And simply readjusting your harvest can increase from 5 to 20% your harvest. This is for the yield. But imagine that you have one part of the field that never grows anything. You don't have to throw that much amount of seeds on that place. Okay, we give the farmer the amount of seeds that they have to throw in every part of the field, and with the new machinery that is on the field, they can give to every single meter of the field the correct amount of seeds, fertilizer, water, and so on and so on. We are very proud of our models for irrigation as well, because it's very related with the SDG objectives, and we are helping our users all around the world to save water, to save fertilizer, to save herbicides, and to save all kinds of inputs and reduce the environmental impact. And this is what we have today with the different technologies that are being developed. New satellites will give us more data to improve our models. New technologies on board the satellites will give us more data from the plants, from the soil, from the management practices of the users, and this will only improve not only the current models, but other kinds of products that might be useful for the agri-food industry.
Yeah, in the end, the space, every time it's more used in our daily life. So that's why I would like to know from Elisabet, which are the advantages of being in as entrepreneurs or young groups of people that want to...
So in the ESA Big Barcelona, we offer a funding of 50,000 euros to cover products developed or in industrial property. So this incentive is done between the Generalitat of Catalonia and the European Space Agency. We also offer an acceleration program with technical experts, business consulting. We also offer up to 2 years of business incubation with office facilities if you need it. It's also important the credibility of the ESA brand that gives you most viability to then goes to other investors. Also, you are the entrepreneurs that takes part of our incubation also have the access to the connections of the ESA big community all around Europe, and the connections of our business partners and the community of our community here in Barcelona. So there's some multiple benefits that you can have here in our incubation. Entrepreneurs, now is the opportunity to take part of our incubation program. So I have here my contact. I will stay now in the B2B tables if you want further information or something. So thank you.
Just to wrap up a little bit this roundtable, as we said, I think that it's very important to say once again that space has room for everyone, and I encourage from here all the young people that are half in the space sector, half in university or wherever their path is, to get involved in the sector. And also now I'm going back home and into Women in Aerospace. If you want to learn more about what we do, or you just want to get in touch with us, feel free. Contact us on LinkedIn or in the WIA Barcelona email. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you to all the speakers.